final activity report and the first look at the European Anti-Fraud Observatory. Okay, so FRED stands for Fraud Repression Through Education, and the key is education. It's a project that was funded under the EU Anti-Fraud Program, and the main characteristics at birth, because we changed a little bit in the process, but at birth, the project was with the only beneficiary of Sapienza, but the consortium was made also by 4 European universities, 4 Italian universities, 5 AFCOs, and the duration was 24 months, starting from April 2023, and of course, ending now in the month of March 2025. The overall funding was about 90,000 euros. The goals. Well, we already heard some of the goals of FRED, but I think it's worth again repeating them. It's about having an experiential co-lab learning itinerary participated by academic and practitioners. That's the key for success, I think. Then the second goal was to put up a mixed European academic practitioner group, which will form a specific task force to produce the map of concept of a pilot study. Then the goal was also to set up an anti-fraud observatory with a European transnational dimension perspective, and then, of course, to disseminate all the activities. We had 11 events in these 2 years, starting in Rome at the end of May 2023. I'm sorry, here there is a mistake. And then we had several workshops in Rome, Venice, held online, and then 3 study visits in Athens, Helsinki, in Belgium, and then the final conference today in Rome. So the overall number of people that were reached by the project is about 1,000. Of course, this is an estimate because we have the event of today, in which the estimation is to reach more than 500 individuals. The task force and the pilot study. Well, of course, the task force was established at the beginning, but then we increased the capacity of this task force. And during the meetings, all meetings, we laid the groundwork for the construction of this map of concept and the implementation of the pilot study. The pilot study was presented in detail during the workshop that we held online on December 2024, but I will present it again this afternoon, of course, quite briefly, actually. What I would like to underline was the work done by the Fondazione Nazionale Commercialisti, because I think it's a relevant example of how the task force should work. Also the observatory in the future should work. So the Fondazione Nazionale Commercialisti administered a questionnaire to more than 3,000 accountants. And in that survey, they asked what these accountants believed about the capacity of fraud indicators to identify frauds. We received a very interesting results. These results, again, were presented during the workshop that we held online on December 2024. But you can also find in the Focus magazine the most interesting key points. The task force, what is the composition and the skills? Well, I would say that the composition of the task force is more or less half and half divided between university and institutions. And this is good, because this is exactly what it is supposed to be, this cooperation between academia and institutions. And on behalf of the competencies in the academia, so only in the academia, I would say that this is the distribution. So approximately 40% of the people involved has competencies in statistics, machine learning tools, 10% in computer science and artificial intelligence, and also we have economics, approximately 20% of the component, and management of firms. This is important to realize that in order to tackle, well, even understand what's going on about frauds, we need to have different competencies, because fraudsters are incredibly on edge, meaning that they have a lot of tools to invent and develop new ways of perpetrating frauds. So it is very important to see the problem under different point of views. So the multidisciplinarity is a crucial tool. The pilot study, which I will here just very briefly outline, but I will explain in more detail later on today. What we've done was basically to identify a first list of fraud indicators. These fraud indicators were developed at firm levels. And then we used the potentiality of math, in particularly to the potentials of anomaly detection algorithms, that's how they are called, and this very nice and powerful tool, which is the Bamford law, which is a very simple yet powerful instrument to identify frauds. And the result was a nice exercise. So basically, the idea was to take a sample of Italian building and construction companies and provide a ranking of these firms according to a score of anomaly. Okay. Dissemination. We were very concerned about dissemination. We invested a lot of time and efforts on dissemination. You can find in the website several information about what we've done, and you can also listen to the videos. You can see videos and listen all the speakers that we had during the meetings in these 2 years. So if you've missed something, it's no big deal, because you can access the website and look for the presentation that you're interested in, and there you can hear again all the information. Then the Focus magazine that you received today, which contains interviews, the agendas of the event, pictures, and the description of the task force. The dissemination was also about posts on social media. We will also have a final publication edited by the Sapienza Università Editrice, and also press releases. Okay, now let's have a look, the first look to the future to the observatory. So the observatory, first of all, will be established inside the Intrasapient Research Center here in Sapienza. Its scope is basically the development of research activities and training programs, because of course we are inside the university, and the scope of university is about research, terza missione, and education. And the research activities and the training programs will be on the field of fraud detection, but also we would like to make it a little bit to a wider scope, because we also are interested in corruption, money laundering, and in general in the shadow economy. So a slightly wider scope. The observatory will promote events. These events could be open to all the public, but it could also be by invitation only. Of course, if there is a need to discuss of something that, you know, it's a little bit sensitive. The components of the observatory are individuals. Of course, these individuals belong to institutions. They belong to universities, they belong to research centers. But the idea is that there must be an individual which could be a point of reference. To become part of the observatory, it is requested to sign a letter of expression of interest. So something very easy to do. Of course, this is a work in progress, but I can say, and I'm really happy about this, because there is a lot of interest, and so far already we have 25 individuals, 25 components who signed this letter of interest. They belong to universities and research centers and institutions. And as you can see there, we not only remain in Italy, but we also went to Spain. I wish to thank all the friends here that arrived from Spain. Finland and Greece, they were partners at the beginning, and they would like to remain partners. And University of L'Aquila, partner at the beginning, Bicocca, University of Macerata, University of Parma with the Rosa Research Center, and of course, the Technical Secretariat of the Italian AFCOS. Without them, I cannot imagine. And we also have institutions that are the Fondazione Nazionale Commercialisti. Again, they expressed the interest in continuing the activities with us, and also the law firms. Okay, which are the competencies? As I said at the beginning, it is crucial to have competencies and different perspectives. In fact, the observatory is already multidisciplinary. As I said, we have competencies in statistics, machine learning, and artificial intelligence, in law, business management, and accounting. The aim of the observatory is to provide an opportunity for academics and practitioners to meet and benefit from each other's expertise in solving complex problems. What I would really like to underline is that the cooperation must be sustainable and useful for all the parts involved. How could we imagine to cooperate? Well, the initial step, typically, I expect it to come from the practitioners, could be the identification of a complex problem. And for this complex problem, the institution feel that they do not have enough competencies inside, in-house, to tackle the problem. Well, in this case, the institution can call the observatory, and together with the people in the observatory, we would assess the problem. We could identify all the competencies requested to tackle the problem, and the number of people to involve into the project, and the time approximately needed. Of course, we are not sure that we can solve the problem. This is in the nature of the things. But if we can, fully or partly, the idea is to identify a suitable funding source that can support the project costs, because we must involve people working in the project. And as was said at the beginning by the dean of our Faculty of Economics, university lives by finding sources of income and to support research activities and training projects. So this is a crucial step. This is, I mean, all